In the high-octane world of Formula One, Max Verstappen, the Dutch racing sensation, has once again demonstrated his formidable racing prowess. However, this time, the spotlight was not on his victories, but rather on his controversial tactics under pressure. It was a throwback to his 2021 antics, with one key difference. Lando Norris was not about to back down from a fair fight. The stage was set in turn 3, where Norris found himself on the receiving end of a contentious move. This incident sparked a burning question. Are we witnessing the resurgence of the old Verstappen? And more crucially, can Norris consistently apply pressure on Verstappen as he did in Austria? The Austrian Grand Prix was largely dominated by Red Bull until the second stint of the race. Verstappen, despite struggling on the hard tires, managed to maintain a steady lead of around 7 to 8 seconds over Norris, who was in second place. However, as the third stint commenced on the medium tires, it was clear that drama was imminent even before the cars hit the track, thanks to the slow pit stop of the three-time world champion. Once Norris found himself tailing Verstappen, he had his sights set on nothing less than victory. Verstappen, however, had other plans. He broke under pressure, moving and not relinquishing his position even when Norris was at the apex of turn 2. This tension reached its climax on lap 64. Norris attempted to take the external line of turn 3, but Verstappen shut the door on him with the same maneuver, resulting in contact between the race leaders. The aftermath of this collision was clear. Punctured tires and one driver worse off than the other. In this case, it was Norris who drew the short straw. The damage to his car was terminal. Verstappen, on the other hand, managed to limp back to the pit lane, change his tires, and ultimately finish fifth, gaining 10 points while the second and third drivers in the championship gained none. This incident was a bitter pill to swallow for Norris, and his frustration was evident in his statements. Verstappen, on the other hand, used every trick in the book to avoid admitting fault. As a champion with 3 titles and 61 wins to his name, it's clear that Verstappen is not one to buckle under pressure or apologize publicly. His response to the incident was, "I need to look back at how or why we touched. Of course, we will talk about it. It's just unfortunate that it happened." However, Verstappen's criticism of Norris for dive bombing seems somewhat hypocritical, especially considering his own maneuvers in the 2021 Jeddah Grand Prix and his championship-sealing overtake on Hamilton. This is particularly true now when Verstappen's superior racecraft is being challenged by Norris's MCL 38. Despite the criticism from the F1 world, Verstappen's actions were defended by his team, Red Bull, which is hardly surprising given his importance to the team in these challenging times. With Perez struggling to outperform a Haas in finishing the race sandwiched between both American Haas team drivers, it begs the question, is Verstappen reverting to his old racing style? We saw a lot of this in 2021, and many supported Verstappen because they were tired of Hamilton's dominance. When Verstappen made a move like he did against Norris in Austria, it was labeled as brave and elbows out, such as the one in Imola against Hamilton, where the 7-time world champion almost went off the track. However, the tables have turned, and Verstappen is now being pushed by Norris, who clearly has the faster car and package. What Norris lacks is the racecraft and championship skill to compete with Verstappen. The camaraderie that once existed between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris is now on the brink of transformation, following the recent turn of events on the racetrack. Norris, in his post-race reflections, expressed his anticipation for a fair and intense battle. However, he was left disappointed, stating, "I wouldn't say that is what it was in the end." Norris ran a flawless race, but found himself taken out of the competition. He pointed out a rule that prohibits drivers from reacting to their competitors, a rule he believes Verstappen violated during their 3 encounters on the track. Norris managed to avoid collision twice, but the third time, Verstappen ran into him. Norris was simply trying to run his race, but Verstappen, who was noticeably slower towards the end, ended up ruining both their races. This incident brings to mind Verstappen's past actions, where he seemed indifferent to the outcome of a crash as long as his competitor was taken out. Although we've seen less of this in 2022 and 2023, the beginning of the 2022 season did witness clean racing between Leclerc and Verstappen. This was primarily because Leclerc, along with Hamilton, are probably the only drivers on the grid who can avoid such contact and race Verstappen properly. This is a skill Norris will need to develop throughout his career. People have drawn parallels between this incident and potential scenarios from 2021, such as the race in Lagos, Brazil, where Hamilton avoided contact on multiple occasions. These instances were hailed as brave driving from Verstappen. However, McLaren's team principal, Andrea Stella, believes that the entire world knows who is at fault for what happened during the race, except for a small group of people in Red Bull. Stella warned that if these issues are not addressed honestly, they will recur, as they have not been properly addressed since the 2021 fiasco. He said, "I see that the entire population in the world know who is responsible except for a group of people in Red Bull. But the problem behind is that if you don't address these things honestly, they'll come back." Stella expressed his respect for Red Bull and Verstappen, but questioned why they would compromise their reputation with such actions. The blame, according to Stella, lies squarely with Red Bull, despite their defense of Norris's move and their claim that there was just enough space for Norris to go outside of that corner. The slow pit stop for Verstappen, which cost him around 3 to 4 seconds, and Norris's brand new medium compound tire, compared to Verstappen's couple of laps old ones, were crucial factors in the inevitable fight that ensued. Norris could have been blamed for not closing the fight a couple of laps earlier, but Verstappen's aggressive style and championship experience always put him on top. With Silverstone just around the corner, a track that has favored McLaren in the past, the future of both championships is pivotal. McLaren is slowly but surely approaching Ferrari in the Constructor Championship, thanks to the sprint race results and Piastri finishing ahead of Sainz. As we look ahead, the rest of the season promises to be highly competitive and intriguing. The real question is whether Norris can consistently apply pressure to Verstappen, and if so, will the three-time world champion revert to his old ways of hard racing? Norris could certainly benefit from lessons from Hamilton and Leclerc, the only two drivers on the grid who have managed to race wheel-to-wheel with Verstappen in a clean manner. What are your thoughts on Verstappen's old antics? Do you think they could resurface now that he's under pressure from Norris? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And once you've done that, don't forget to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all the latest F1 news and analysis. Stay tuned and keep the engines revving.